You definitely got to have a growth mind, right? Like if you're happy with where you're at in life right now, you probably aren't going to work out here. You always got to want to be better, right? And so you got to be driven. You got to be excited about what we're doing and want to help make it even better than it is today because every day we're growing and we're becoming better than we were yesterday, right? And so one thing I find that doesn't really work are the guys that come in here and go, "Oh, I'm worth $85 an hour." And it's like, "Oh yeah, what are you going to do to get it?" Because you get what you earn. It's that damn simple. Like everybody thinks they're deserving, but you deserve what you earned, period. And so you can't say that's not my job. One of our core values states very clearly, like you never say this isn't my job. We all do what it takes. And I would relate that to dumpster talk. We all know what dumpster talk is, right? All the techs get around in the back lot and they start talking crap about whatever. Um, well, my team, if somebody starts doing that, one of the individuals, my expectation is that one of those teammates that are out there hearing that is grabbing that individual and taking them to somebody that can help solve their problem. Because that's my definition of gossip, which is poisonous, which is you're talking to somebody who can't help solve your problem. Now I'm talking about work-related issues where we're working through a situation on a job site or something like that. I'm talking about like, whoa, my paycheck, or they told me I had to wash my van once a week. That's stupid, and that kind of stuff, right? And it's not acceptable. We can talk about it, but like what you can't do is go out there and talk about it because that's not going to help our culture move forward. And we're known for culture. At the end of the day, our customers say, "Oh, I've used these guys for years, and every technician, I've had multiple techs out, and they're all amazing and awesome, and really care about my situation." And that's who you got to be. You can't do it for the money. You do it to serve people, do a great job, have pride in your workmanship, and by doing all that, you get paid.
Please welcome America's service sales coach, Joe Crisara.
Welcome to the Service MVP Podcast, the show that helps home service professionals master high-value sales, build stronger client relationships, and grow their business like never before. Join industry experts as they share real strategies that drive results. If you're ready to level up your service game, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
It's the Service MVP Podcast.
Thank you for listening and watching the Service MVP Podcast. I want to give you a copy of my free book. Just click on the link below in the description and one will be sent to you from me personally. Thank you so much for listening.
Welcome to the Service MVP Podcast. My name is Joe Crisara, and we have a very special guest. His name is Rich Hart from Harts. I want to get this right. Plumbing, electrical, and HVAC technicians. So I got it right?
You got it. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
Thank you, Rich. Thanks for joining us here today. I had the unique pleasure of working closely with the Harts Services team. And of course, one of the things I was impressed was that the company has an appropriate name because it is all heart there. Rich, why don't you start by telling us about, and Rich has gone on a long journey and started a company that now does well over $10 million. I think he's going to be hitting over 20 million this year in total revenue. And he's a stickler for profit and a stickler for making sure people are taking action to be successful, not sitting around waiting for success. Rich, why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about how did you get into starting Harts Services, or how this all began from the beginning? Give us a little thumbnail if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. And just to clarify, it's going to be 30 this year, Joe.
Oh, really?
It is just under, just under. But anyways, yeah, so me and my wife and three sons moved out to Washington, shucks, 12 years ago now,
Mm-hmm.
this last September. And I had worked for a company over there. Some of you guys might have heard of them, Allen's Plumbing. Great company. I was raised in that company, so I came into the industry and learned my skills through that company as a plumber. And when I moved here, I found that a lot of the companies that I was working for, I did not love their core values, who they were, how they motivated and drove business and served their customers. And so Dan is my business partner. We grew up together and we came together, and he knew business and I was a plumber, and I was a pretty damn good plumber. I do say so myself. And we started up Hearts, and I'll just tell you, it was a struggle the first couple of years. It was me out knocking on doors. We didn't have a lot of money. We had to generate business and do quality work to make sure that we got our name out there and started to take over the market, right? And so We started there. We got our first couple employees, our second year in business, and started chasing sewers and plumbing work. We're 12 years into it now. Actually, this week is our 12-year anniversary, and we've got 165 employees. We do plumbing, sewer, electrical, and HVAC. And I want to say one of the biggest lessons I've taken away from doing this and running this journey is people. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, we do plumbing, yes, we do HVAC, and yes, we do electrical, but we're a people business, man. It's all about serving people, it's all about hiring quality people, training quality people, and giving them quality outcomes so that they can have a better outcome in their life, no different than we all want for our lives, right?
Although I was hired at your company as a trainer, and
Yeah.
to be fair, they already use Nexstar as a training company, and we told Rich, I said, I'm not here. Definitely, Nexstar is a great service, and I'm not here to replace Nexstar. I told him that, and I'm just here to enhance what you're learning there and to take it to another level, and that made all the difference there. I want to make sure we clear up that misconception. Make sure I'm not here to take Nexstar's job or anything like that. I don't really
Yeah.
consider Nexstar as a competitor. I look at it like if you're doing well, you can afford to hire specialists that come in to kind of help you. Does that make sense? Rich, you want to speak on that a little bit to make sure there's no misconception that Rich has moved over to this now or whatever.
Yeah.
You move over to the dark
Absolutely.
side or something like that?
Yeah. I was super skeptical, and I'm sure you remember this clearly, Joe. I actually had the conversation with you of like, why the hell would I replace Nexstar with you and Service MVP? Full transparency, full honesty, just out with it, right? Nexstar has gotten us to where we are. We've been members with them since 2017, and we highly believe in their morals, values, ethics, and processes, right? But one thing that you helped me clear up is that it's not a replacement. It is an add-on, right? And once I started changing my mindset to see what you were telling me, which helped immensely, holy crap, it was such a great fit, right? Because it really digs into the science of people. And like I said, it's a people business. So as we're out there with those customers, yeah, I can have a basic process that gets me through every job. It doesn't necessarily help me with reading people and getting the three S's up front and finding the science in a conversation and communication to help guide them down the right path for them and for us to feel good about what we're doing, right? Um, it's pretty huge, actually. Now I've got it implemented in the whole company. We're still kicking it off with the electricians and plumbers. HVAC's been running with it now for what, a little over a year?
Yeah, yeah, something like that. Definitely. Well, I think it's going for a year, but I think they kind of caught on over the last 5 months or so is when it's really kind of caught hold. We got a foothold there, right? Does that make sense, Rich?
It does, and the only way, and that makes total sense because that's about when I started to buy in, right? And as the leader of the company, I wanted more for our people and for our customers, but until I actually dug into it and started implementing stuff with them, they did not take off and run with it. So it
Well,
definitely,
it's there's interesting thing about Rich and I is there's two very obvious things that were needed from each of us, and we both saw in each other what was needed more of, and we requested it of each other. Like I remember, it's like, Joe, I think I just need you to take control of this with our people, and let's dig in and let's get this thing. Or we start doing this call by call thing with them to see if they get so they can have an experienced guy who's mentoring them there. And I said, yeah, Rich, but I need you to come in too because I'm out here in a distance away. They need somebody on the ground that they can talk to as well. You also taught me to not talk as much, to listen more.
When you ask a question, you should let people answer, right, Joe? Yep, absolutely. I got no problem being direct with respect. It's one of our core values, right? You see it, you say it, direct with respect.
You deliver a very blunt message, but you do it with a smile and you do it with motivation. It's the way I love about Rich Hart is that he can deliver a direct message to people without wasting a lot of time, but also he delivers a message with motivation and encouragement, showing that you believe in people. So you mentioned before, this is a people business. As an owner of a company like this and developing it into what you're developing it into now after 12 years, tell us about how you learned, because I could imagine that as a plumber, you just used to put a boot up people's ass when when you didn't like what they were doing, but then you had to develop into a refined owner who can't just do it that way, right? Tell us about the metamorphosis, about how you learn to deliver the message directly, but also with care, respect, and support, like you do.
Sure. I would say that I grew up in the industry with blunt plumbers. I don't know that I've ever been one, right? So to me, facts are facts. It is what it is, right? And so if you don't want to be here, you don't want to do it, that's fine with me. It's your choice. I don't want people around that aren't having fun and getting stuff done, right? And so over the years, yes, some conversations were more stressful back in the day than they are these days, right? But you got to talk about things with the people. It's the only way. And so you see something that's off track, you got to call them in. You got to waste their time a little bit. You got to spend the time with them to help them get there. And I'll tell you, to get our 165 employees, I can't tell you how many people we've gone through to find the right team, right? People think, oh man, you guys look so refined from the outside. On a day to day, it doesn't always feel that way. And I don't know that it ever is gonna, right? It's constant focus, constant respect to the people and expectations. If you let them do what they want, they're going to do what they want. But you can't ever forget that they came here to have a better outcome than they had in their lives at the time that they came here. And so our job is to make sure that they see success in their lives by serving our customers at a world-class level, right? And I see a lot of people asking for help, and I always try and reach out and help people and other businesses and whatnot. And the biggest theme I think I see is the people not willing to go have the difficult conversations and or hold accountability lines on the things they expect, right? Inspect what you expect's a real thing. And if you just let people do whatever and you're questioning why your results are junk, then you should think about that.
I want everybody to come to the next Total Immersion, the life-changing event where you increase your sales and your personal growth. What should we do? Hmm. One of the things I noticed is, when you see like the week is transforming on or the month is moving forward, not afraid to put that score in front of people. And then that's why I think, honestly, I really love working with Hearts because you would be great at putting the score. Hey, guys, here's where we're at for the month. Here's where we need to be. We need to start doing this. Joe, you got some thoughts on this? And then I'd go in and do some training and say, yeah, here's what I would need you guys to do. And then Rich would be like, all right, guys, we believe in it. Then he'd come back and finish with so it'd be like, it was like a perfect mix. Like, that's what I saw it. I mean, you probably don't see it that way, but I was like, you tell us the numbers. I'd say, here's what we need to do. And you deliver the, I believe in you and the motivational message. I really love that flow that we had working together, and we still honestly still have it. Because when we even though I'm not really working there as a paid employee anymore, I still monitor because I'm so in love with the team, and what you guys are accomplishing. What do you think about that thing where you deliver the data, and how important
Yeah.
is it that people aren't afraid to show that data? You don't dwell on it. You just say, here it is. And what are some of the keys to doing that where it's not offensive to people or it's too overbearing to provide that data? Because sometimes the data, we all think it should be provided, but either people ignore it or they just read too much into it. Tell us how you do that in an appropriate way, which just seems natural to you. How does that happen there?
Yeah, so I mean, it's none of it's a secret, right? And it can't be. It has to be in your face all the time. We got TVs around the shop with people's numbers on it, whether it's conversion rate, sales, average ticket, revenue, you name it, right? All the way down to your driving score. Did you have too many harsh braking events? So when I come out publicly with it, every individual's already had their individual conversations on where they're at individually. And so it's not a big deal to come to the team and let's just say I throw out daily videos, right, to the individual trade teams, and I'll tell them where we're at. We're 2 weeks into the month, we're at 150 grand. Our target this month's 400. We're off track, guys. I got 4 open install days, and our goal today is to keep our brothers working and eating and feeding their families, right? And so this is what we got to do. I want to make sure that every single job we go to, we've got 6 repair options. We're getting our salesmen on the phone on Zoom and getting 6 replacement options if it's over 10 years old. It ain't our choice to make, it's the customer's choice. We have to provide the options, no different than we provide the data. And a lot of times people get complacent, right? And we all do it. It's not them, it's all of us, right? And so they need somebody powerful to help remind them that it's I got to pay the rent every day. My rent's due every day. It ain't at the end of the month or the beginning of the month. It's every single day. And so we push forward with sharing that data regularly to make sure that it's not a surprise. And if you didn't do that and you just threw numbers out to your entire team out of the
Mhm.
blue, it would be offensive. Um, but the reality is you should be having once a week meetings individually. Uh, I do 3 times a week as a team in each trade, and then daily on the videos out to what we're shooting for today.
I just want to break that down for everybody just to make sure we got what you were saying there, because the numbers with the human impact,
Yep.
those two things. So when you deliver the numbers, delivering the numbers with the cost of not hitting our goal. So
Yep.
the goal is just a goal. It's just a
Yep.
scoreboard. But there's a human cost when we don't hit that goal. And that's what you're so artful at, Rich. And what I learned from you is that setting the goal without giving the human cost or the human aspiration or victories, that's important. It kind of typified by is it every Wednesday you guys hold that meeting, or is it every Wednesday you guys have a group meeting? And it's like looks like a almost like an Amway meeting over at Harts.
Yeah. 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 So every Wednesday we have an all hands meeting. Every Tuesday and Thursday we have individual team trainings, right? Um, but yeah, we go over the numbers and let us know. We try and stay on pace, right? No different than, I don't know everybody that's watching this, but maybe you're a 2-person company, maybe you're a 100-person company, whatever. But you got to organize, right? You don't go to war without a plan. You don't go build a house without a plan. You don't do anything without a plan, really. Like I go get in my truck in the morning. Well, I got to start it and warm it up. I got to get my coffee. I got a process to everything I do, whether you think about it or not. And people get offended if you're just talking numbers all the time. It's like, oh, I'm just a number, right? You're not
Hmm.
just a number, man. You got a family. Like you're fighting every day to be better than you were yesterday. And if you aren't, you probably shouldn't be on my team at the end of the day because we're all growing all the time. It's also one of our core values is grow or die. If you ain't growing, you're dying. If you're dying, get the hell out of my way because you're in my way.
Well, I believe in that. And, at that Wednesday meeting, for all those who would aspire to do something like that, which I think it is a great thing, what I noticed is that that's not a training meeting as much as it
No,
is an acknowledgement meeting of the effort. It's like I teach Magic Moments about praising the effort of people who have made an effort on behalf of you.
yeah,
It's like Wednesday is like you should call it the Magic Moment meeting because honestly, it's like that's all it is. It's you acknowledging the effort of both the teams and the individual people who have got us to where we're at right now. Could you explain about that a little bit to make sure if somebody was going to hold a meeting like that, an all hands meeting, how much
sure.
should be training at that point or that kind of a meeting or versus acknowledge? Is there a formula to that meeting that you try to honor that format, if you will, Rich?
Yeah, so we always have the top 2 to 3 sales, revenue, and customer reviews, right? We measure efficiency, we measure conversion rate, we shout all those out. So they're all individual slides. We build it on a slide deck. Um, and we just make sure that we're shouting out each department, their efforts and things like that. It's a half-hour meeting. There's a lot to it, right? And so I've got
It is. It is.
uh
Yeah.
yeah, so it gets designed a week beforehand. We make sure all the numbers in there pulled straight out of service site and they're all correct. So, and everybody knows that because they see their own dashboards on their iPads, right? And then we also make sure we go to the extent of calling out our call center people for how many calls they booked and our dispatchers for how much revenue they dispatched. Right tech, right call, that type of stuff, right? And so we got to celebrate the wins. And even if we're not winning, we're celebrating what we did do and we're talking about what we need to do to move forward, right? And so we throw our entire profit numbers up there, our gross margin numbers, our material costs. Um, we do all of our safety stuff in there. So like if we had any vehicle accidents or anything like that, yeah, it's all on the table, guys. Like we hide zero in this company. Everything is transparent. Everything needs to be known. People got to know what they're fighting for.
Yeah, I think Wednesday that I call magic moment, praise the effort is also all hands means office staff, field staff, everybody intermingling together as a team, and that's really what I got at Hearts is that when you built this, Rich, it was important to build the team working together and
Yep.
caring about each other, and that's what I get from you. The vibe I get from you, Rich. Where was that developed? How did you? Because a lot of times plumbers are just like, I go work on my, I got to focus on myself, or becomes very isolated. Like it's just me and my truck or whatever. How did you develop that? What inspired you to get that team mentality there? Because it's one of the best strengths of you and your company.
Yeah. I mean, I learned it before this company, I think, actually. My previous company, I became the trainer, right? And so, yes, I was a plumber in a truck out serving customers and doing the work and all the things, right? But I did gain a sense of empowerment by teaching others. And when they failed, I freaking kicked them in their butts and made sure that they didn't, right? Um, I want to say in 5 years, I had 10 different people that rode with me on a regular basis that I focused on, and probably two of them fell out. The rest of them succeeded. And some of them are still working over there in Maui, Hawaii today, which is where Allen's Plumbing is, where I was working. And they're just great people. A couple of them actually moved out here to Washington and work for me now. And so relationships, that's what it comes down to, right? And I tell people all the time, whether we get the job today or we get the job 10 years from now, it doesn't really matter. We just want to be the ones that do it because we go out and we build relationships and we build opportunities, trust, and people buy from who they like, trust, and believe in, period, right? So we don't go out and we make stuff up to try and sell people stuff. We educate. We educate, we educate, we educate. And if they don't want to do it, that's totally fine. It's the same thing with our people. And it's the same thing with how we lead the people within our company. It's like, oh, you don't know that? No, no big deal. That's a good thing. Let's learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people get nervous, right? They're like, well, I don't know. I don't know. And it's like, well, but what we did do is we taught the ability to figure anything out. Would you agree? Yes, I agree. Okay, cool. So when we get there and we don't know, how are we going to know? How are we going to figure it out? There's a path to everything. How do we get there?
One of the things that was the most impressive is the slogan, "We care more." Does that make
Yep.
sense? It was like, it's very profound. Excuse me. It's on the back of everybody's shirt. It's on
Yep.
every truck, I believe. Am I correct? Am I speaking the truth
Correct.
there? We
Yep.
care more. Rich, it's a pretty bold statement to make. Yeah, and I'm sure that a lot of employees and clients will try to hold you accountable. It's a statement of accountability
Yep.
to me that I used to do it back when I had a business. I said, I will personally see to your satisfaction, Joe Crisara, because
Yep.
I made sure that I was inspecting what I inspected. So I was going to make sure that everything was right for our customers and our coworkers. Rich, if I was a new employee starting at Harts Services, how do you demonstrate those words to be truth, not just empty words or an empty slogan that's a marketing guy made up?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, example, last week I went out back one day because I noticed some of our trucks were not looking the best as they could. And I started washing vans because I care more and you need to care more about too. Sometimes, so I guess another way to say that is we go into people's houses. Nobody knows what the heck's going on with their plumbing, HVAC, or electrical, right? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We've got to care more about your house than you do most all the time, which means we've got to find the things to educate on, let them know where that line of urgency's at, right? But that travels outside of the home all the way into our business when it comes down to washing trucks, for example, or greasing our equipment, or making sure that we're prepared to go out and do the things we need to do. And so all the way down to an individual having financial issues, I could say. I've got a pile of books in the corner by Dave Ramsey on total money makeovers on how to help people budget, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
know in our industry, a lot of our employees do struggle with them. I got guys making 200 grand a year that can't pay their bills somehow. And so I invest my time in helping people figure out how to get there. Because I don't care if you make 30 grand or 200 grand, you got to live within your means. But if you don't know how, you never will get there, right? And so you got to spend the time. At the end of the day, it boils down to spending the time on the focuses that help people be better, all the way to our customers, employees, families, you name it.
So, what do you say to uh, people who used to work at places that said it was just a business where they made money and they just didn't, uh, they didn't, they weren't, they intentionally didn't want to get into knowing me and my family. They just wanted to use me for my labor only. Obviously, that's something you don't believe in. You believe in. Would you say that's an important factor, that showing you care by digging deeper and really getting to know people more intimately in terms of what they struggle with in their family, and not just there for the good things, but also there for the things that people are challenged with? Tell me about that.
Absolutely. Engagement's key, right? Like if somebody doesn't believe in our core values in our business, we got to talk about that. And if we can't get there and help give a good example of why we feel a certain way about the way we're moving forward, then maybe it's not the best fit for each other, right? But I take it as far as every time we hit our target for the month, I've got a big trailer barbecue. I bring the barbecue in. We have a Friday night barbecue, families, dogs, kids, you name it. Summertime, we got water balloons. Wintertime, we got fire pits, right? And it's all about the family environment. But as you get bigger, you realize this isn't really a family anymore. It's more like an army, right?
Hmm.
But soldiers all hang out outside of freaking work too.
Hmm.
So yeah, keeping that engagement is key, and there's many different ways you can do it. I've done breakfasts, I've done, the barbecue is my favorite one to do just because I think it's the loosest one, and people get to go home on a Friday night and not come back on Saturday, right? So they
It
get to
goes
let
back to
loose a
our
little bit.
Yeah, it goes back to us as core men. Like, we have to make fire and cook meat for the
That's
fan
right.
for the
Damn,
for
damn
the
straight.
army.
But yeah,
It's in
just
our
getting
it's in
that.
our inner cortex. They call that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Getting that personal connection, man. I walk through the shop every single morning. I spend the first hour and a half of my day just giving handshakes and watching people's body language and expressions, right? Um, and a lot of times I'll walk through the shop and I'll just see a guy looking, bah, and it's like, dude, what's up? How you doing today? I'm all right. What do you mean you're all right? Let's go talk, right? And so we'll jump up in the office, say, what's going on, man? And the people want to talk about stuff, right? They don't always want to talk about stuff. If anything, you at least are giving them the assurance that they can come talk anytime. Because I do care. I want to make sure that your home life's just as good as your work life. Because they both affect each other. If your work life sucks, your home life sucks. If your home life sucks, your work life sucks. So how do we help every individual have a good freaking life, man? I got a saying, and I say it all the time: if it ain't fun, it ain't worth doing. If you ain't having fun, what the hell are you doing with your life, man? Paint a different picture. If you don't like your picture, paint a different picture. Internal dialogue creates external life. Let's figure out how to let's get that life good by changing that dialogue.
Well, it sounds to me like, when I was there, what I witnessed is that Rich Hart and Dan Hartsbaugh, don't forget him too. Dan's a great guy too. He's the business partner you mentioned before. That's he has a lot of his name has Hart in it too. So that's great. It's great
Yeah.
that you guys both
Heart
have
Services.
that name in your name of the company, and both your last names too. But
Yep.
Rich, um, there's a business component like the plumbing, electrical, and HVAC part that you try to develop in your team, but there's the personal part of it too, to develop people. When people start there, how would I know if I was a good employee or a good fit for Hart? Because let's pretend I'm a new employee and I'm looking for a job. What are the kinds of people that fit in well at Harts? What are the things you can build, and what are the things that you can't really work with? Tell us about that. What are you looking for when it comes to an employee? How would I know if I was a good fit at the
Yeah.
Harts?
You definitely got to have a growth mind, right? Like if you're happy with where you're at in life right now, you probably aren't going to work out here. You always got to want to be better, right? And so you got to be driven. You got to be excited about what we're doing and want to help make it even better than it is today because every day we're growing and we're becoming better than we were yesterday, right? And so one thing I find that doesn't really work are the guys that come in here and go, "Oh, I'm worth 85 bucks an hour." And it's like, "Oh yeah, what are you going to do to get it?" Because you get what you earn. It's that damn simple. Like everybody thinks they're deserving, but you deserve what you earn, period.
Mhm.
And so you can't say that's not my job. One of our core values states very clearly, like you never say this isn't my job. We all do what it takes. And I would relate that to dumpster talk. We all know what dumpster talk is, right? All the techs get around in the back lot and they start talking crap about whatever. Well, my team, if somebody starts doing that, one of the individuals, my expectation is that one of those teammates that are out there hearing that is grabbing that individual and taking them to somebody that can help solve their problem. Because that's my definition of gossip, which is poisonous, which is you're talking to somebody who can't help solve your problem. No, I'm talking about work-related issues where we're working through a situation on a job site or something like that. I'm talking about like, whoa, my paycheck, or they told me I had to wash my van once a week. That's stupid, and that kind of stuff, right? And it's not acceptable. We can talk about it, but like what you can't do is go out there and talk about it, because that's not going to help our culture move forward. And we're known for culture. At the end of the day, our customers say, "Oh, I've used these guys for years, and every technician, I've had multiple techs out, and they're all amazing and awesome, and really care about my situation." And that's who you got to be. You can't do it for the money. You do it to serve people, do a great job, have pride in your workmanship, and by doing all that, you get paid. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, you get top dollar at Hearts for sure.
Yeah.
If you do make the effort, it's a meritocracy, not an entitlement. I could tell you that for sure. I know that from firsthand experience from being there, observing. And Rich, first of all, let me just say thank you for bringing your A game. You definitely you gave me a good representation of who Rich Hart is, and I would definitely want to get the watered down version because you're on the podcast here. Rich, thanks so much for the service you provide all of the Seattle, Tacoma, and Western Washington area, and
Yeah.
also the service you provide the trades in the community. And actually, also thanks for all the other contractors who are watching this show and around the world who are going to watch this. It really means a lot to them and me, and it means all the world to me that you did this. And I really want to say thank you so much for giving us your very best every day.
I appreciate you and your efforts, Joe. You've been a big help to us, and I would stout your name across the country.
Thanks, Rich. Everybody have a great one. We'll see everybody in the next episode of the Service MVP podcast. Have a great one, everyone.